Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe, entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Welcome to episode 210, also known as 210, of the Industry Angel. Great to have you back with us. Thanks so much for all your kind messages. I do hope you enjoyed our Kaylee last week, episode 209. And what you might have saw on the socials was me polishing, as promised, Kaylee's star on the Hall of Fame on Newcastle Quayside. I did it. So there you go. Remember, Kaylee called me out. Well, it's done. I wonder if I should put it on industryangel.com. Maybe Misha will do that. Nice delegation, Ian. So today then, got a friend of mine, Sarah, wonderful woman, keeps me right, very spiritual, I don't even know how to describe Sarah. She's just absolute rock star. You'll find out. Sarah said on text to me, shall we catch up for a call? And I said, Sarah, let's go live.
Hi.
Hello. Long time no see.
Shall we have a phone call, a quick catch up? Let's just go live.
Make the most of it.
Let's just do it. You know why? Because I'm just setting up my phone here. Because I love our chats and they get wasted sometimes. I'm like, other people need to listen to your shizzle. I love you. You're lush.
So sweet.
So yeah, I thought let's just jump on a live. So we haven't even promoted. No one knows we're here. What do you think of my backdrop? Do you like it?
I love your backdrop. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fantastic. Where did you get that done?
Yeah, this is where I go into advertisement mode. Thank you, Jules and Carl from Design Express.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think we post them on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, it was a lovely gift from them. Because Misha got some flowers and I was like, you got flowers. And then this arrived in the post. So I was like, I love that. Now I'm just playing with my brightness and I'm just looking at that big light. Right then, this is what we're doing.
We're just having
Anyway, Sarah, meet the public. Public, meet Sarah.
Hi, it's me.
Industry Angel crew. Oh, look, got some comments already. Hey, Anderson, morning. I was about to say, it's not morning, but it totally is.
It just is. Well done, Kate, for getting it right. Nice to see you. Well, not see you.
There's Carl, look, who we've just been given a heads up to.
Yay.
He sent us the banner.
Oh.
Right, our Misha's saying turn it up. What are you on about? How do I turn it up?
I thought you were the same person. You're not the way you. Misha does everything and you're just...
I know. Come and help us, Misha. No, I'll just shout a bit louder.
I'm usually loud enough. There's usually no problems with mine.
Well, everyone knows when Sarah Crimmens in the room, I tell you.
It's true. It's one of my zones of genius.
How have you been doing during this crazy time? How you finding it? Are you all right?
I mean, it's just stretched on, hasn't it? So it's like, I really do believe the Corona coaster is a real thing. I know that it's definitely something for me. I don't know whether it's even evolved now and it's not even really the Corona coaster. It's just like the roller coaster of life, which I think was probably very prevalent for us all before. We just maybe weren't as aware of it as we are now, because we've got this, global pandemic in all of our consciousnesses, even if we're not like directly affected by it. Like if we're not ill or we don't have a loved one that's ill, like it is affecting everyone because obviously the structures of government and everything are changing and what we're able to, we're still in lockdown. So we're not able to do as much as we used to be able to do. For me, I'm riding the waves. Like I've really just been learning. I was actually given the gift of being pretty ill like 6 months before coronavirus hit. So at the end of 2019, I was really invited to just slow down and be with myself. And that was a really great lesson for like what was to come, really. So this doesn't feel a million miles away different, but man, there's lots of stuff coming up when you have to sit on your own and with your feelings, with your emotions and not having your usual fallback systems as well. Like I didn't realize how much I relied on being able to go to the pub on a Friday, like just drop into a bar in town and know people I would know would be there, like, and that would be just like a it would be like a relaxant for me as well, but it would also be a numbing mechanism. So if I was feeling something that I didn't really want to feel, like it felt uncomfortable, I'll just go and have a few drinks, which would usually turn into a few espresso martinis, which could often end up me being out until like 1 o'clock in the morning. So like great numbing, a lot of fun. Don't regret it at all, but not the best in terms of actually dealing with the shit that was in front of me and that was inside of me, which is what I have been doing, which I'm not going to lie, it's not easy. It's not comfortable. It's painful, but oh my God, how good does it feel when I overcome something, when I work through it. And yeah, there's something else comes always, because that is what life is. It's about experiences. I remember when, I'm going to end up going off on a right ramble here, Ian, so you're going to have to
go for it.
I remember I was in like a 15-year relationship. We were engaged. I thought my life was set up and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember coming out of that, and there was no ill will. He's a lovely person. We just weren't right for each other. And I think we finally realized that. And it was a blessing, even though it was absolutely heartbreaking at the time. And I've been out of that for like, I don't know, 6 years now. But I remember coming out of that and thinking, my reason for being on this, I want to experience everything. I want to experience everything. And I think I remembered back to being a kid and thinking like, there's no way that I wouldn't like see all of the world. In my head, it was like, of course I'm going to go to like Antarctica. Of course I'm going to see every continent in the world. Of course I'm going to see every country. There was no limit on my expectations and my dreams, because like when I was young, and I don't know whether a lot of other people when their kids have the same thing, it's just like, well, of course I'm going to do that, of course I'm going to do that. And yeah, in the relationship I'd become really stagnant, and I've just been staying still, doing a lot of stuff, you know, still building my career and everything. I'd started my business in that time, we'd got engaged, you know, like all that kind of stuff, but my soul, my heart was stagnant. And now I can come back to that feeling now when I'm feeling a bit iffy and uncomfortable. Before I didn't understand what that was at all. Now I know it's literally my soul being like, something's not quite right here. Look at it, assess it, shift a little bit, move your energy, change. Sometimes the transitions are really big, sometimes they're smaller, but they're all significant. Like now I'm learning how to like, it's not about size. Like you'd say.
I'm not even going to mention those earrings you've got on as well.
I've got my hoops on just for you, Ian. But it's not about size, because I think this is something I work through in therapy as well. Like I would say, oh, well, this is a small change, it's a big change. My therapist would say, well, what makes it big? What makes it small? And it's so important, the language that we use internally for ourselves as much as it is when we're speaking externally as well. So I would say, well, I'm just making a small change, like, oh, I'm getting up an hour earlier. And it would be like, well, what impacts is that having on your life? And I was like, it's making a massive difference because I feel good. I can do the stuff that I really want to do. So it's like, well, that thing that you're calling a small change is actually a really big thing because it's making a really hugely positive impact on your life. So yeah, round in a big old circle. I want to experience friggin' everything. I don't know whether around area I'm a bit like...
Do you know what it is, right? I want a pen and paper. If Misha, if you're watching, could you bring me a pen and paper? Because Sarah is just going off on all these crazy places, and I want to actually come back. There's a few things you said. I want to drag you back, but I've forgotten about them already. I tell you what, I do remember though. You did say that you had the gift of being ill. The terminology that you used there. Tell me why you said that.
And I actually even want to reframe that, because I had the gift of healing. And I read something the other day, which is, again, about language. The words that we use are so important. Our words...
Here she comes.
Is she going? Hi! The engine behind everything that happens in front of
the expert, the wizard behind the curtain.
Amazing. Yeah, like to reframe our thoughts and our words. Honestly, it's so funny whenever I talk to people, whether it's podcasts, whether it's masterminds I'm doing, whatever it is. What I'm saying is I look at my wall in front of me and I've got so many post-its on there. I'll have to send you a photo. But one of them, I write poignant things on there that I want to remember. And now I don't even want to look at them because they're so ingrained in my psyche. But one of them is your word creates your world. And another is as you think, so shall you be. And reframing this, I want to answer your question first. The gift of being ill was... I learned so much from it, and I was given an opportunity to do what I wouldn't have been able to do had I been well, which was learn how to be still and learn how to be, you can laugh at this one, quiet.
I understand. No, I understand.
But it's like, So when I'm out on here, like I was just thinking before we got on here, like, I get so excited to talk to you. Like I'm all like bubbly and energy, and I am. That is me. It's part of me. But I also really am so grateful for the quiet me as well. That is very introspective. I call myself an introverted extrovert because I'm super extrovert. I love being in groups. I love being around people. I love learning about people. It's like it makes my heart sing and it gives me a lot of energy. But I also really need my downtime to recharge. Like it's all about my energy and conserving that. And what I've been noticing as well is I talked about cycles last time I chatted to you actually. And like I know with my cycle now, there's about 1 week in my month, which is like around my like period bleed time, which I'm low energy, and that's when I need to rest. And there's a couple of days before that where I get the dreaded PMS, where I get angsty and I'm frustrated, and I'm just like, like life's a bit shit. So for me now, I don't plan to do important big things, and I actually actively stop myself. Like I'm like, no, you need to do this in 7 days when you know you're going to be feeling better and your energy's better. And like I'm in that this bit now, and now I'm like, right, there's so many different causes and stuff that I want to give my energy to, so many projects that I'm in the middle of. These 3 weeks of a month, that's when I'm like, right, like literally like rocket fuel, like let's get this done. I used to have this feeling of like and I think a lot of women have this. You dread your periods, like you dread it, and it's like you won't be able to identify with this at all. But I know
I'm going to stop you a little bit because I want to kind of frame what you said there, and it's really important. I've got a daughter, Jessica, who's 12, right? She's becoming a woman. You can physically see, emotionally see, a maturity has just leapt. Some of the conversations we're having lately is amazing, and I'm going to understand that Jessica will be going through some of the things you just said there. And also, we had a conversation with Tina and Sharon last week on International Women's Day that I hosted, and they were talking about the menopause as well and the impact that has on business, because those two ladies said that they might not be firing on all cylinders on a particular day. Now, if you're working with somebody and you feel they're a little bit tetchy or these are the things we need to be mindful of as men. So I'm reminding myself with my daughter, I'm reminding myself with colleagues and friends and everything that just like I'm not firing on all cylinders some days as well. I'm really glad that you brought it up. Go on, back to you.
No, I love that comment. Actually, I love vibing with you, Ian, as well, because I think we both have quite complementary energies. Like I have a very strong feminine energy, but I also have really integrated masculine. And I love that you're very strong in your masculine, but you've got the sensitivity of having that feminine energy as well. So it's like, that's why I love having these conversations, because there's an understanding there. It's like, not I am woman, you are man, and like that's it. Like there's a flow with it. So, Katie, that's so much. I saw Kate as well saying you're always so radiant and enthusiastic. That's so much.
Yeah, she also said on a Friday morning, we'll just let Kate know that it's actually
Is it the end of your work week already, Kate?
Kate's just trying to fast forward 10 years, I think, and relax.
I love it. She might have fallen in a river again.
Let's not go there. Sorry, we digress.
Yes. So anyway, I was talking about like this integration of exactly, energy, and it's and Kate has just said I won the management team when I've got PMT because my fuse is non-existent. And this is the thing, like it's all hormonal, and it's not just women who have hormones, men have hormones as well. Like we all have hormones going through our amazing bodies. Like the more I learn about our body, like I'm just completely astounded by it. Completely. We all have these great hormones. Everyone knows about oxytocin, serotonin, all that kind of stuff. I could literally go into so much about this, because all of these great like happy hormones, we call them, endorphins, everything, they're all produced in your gut. So they're all around like this gut area. So this is why nutrition and your diet are so important as well. But anyway, back to like this, just knowing where your cycle is, and just really, I think a lot of women dread that, whether it's the PMT, like the week before your period, or the actual bleed itself, because your body's working overtime to prepare you. It's like, obviously, like you're not pregnant, so your body has to prepare you to release all that and then prepare you again so you can get pregnant, because that is what our bodies do as women. Like we're literally set up to procreate. So yeah, the more that we understand that, and the more that we can have compassion and kindness towards that, the better everyone is. Because yes, we might be touchy and we might be hormonal and all that kind of thing, but like it doesn't last forever. That's the one thing I remind myself all the time with every single thing that goes through me, every emotion that comes. Like, this is not going to be forever. This is temporary. It's not permanent. That's so important to remember. And yeah, just to work with it and be like, again, I'm reframing. It's language, but it's perspective and perception as well. I'm not ill, I'm healing. I'm not like on my sodding period. I'm like, my body's preparing me so that I can rest and so that it can do what it's meant to be doing. Like, I'm thankful for that. It reminds me I'm a woman, which I think is the most wonderful, amazing thing in the world, if I'm totally honest. That's not to say being a man's terrible, although I can't really talk to that because I'm not. Maybe in a past life.
Yeah. Right, I'm stopping you now. I'm stopping you again. I'm dragging you back because I'm loving this. And you know, you said something there, which I wrote down, and you said, it's not forever, it's temporary. Now, that mindset, Sarah, I love it. And I have to keep dialing myself back as well. And you often hear this, that, you know, the worst times that you're going through right now, if you could fast forward a month and look back, you'd realize they're gone. That's it. It's done. But in the moment, they're the worst things ever. But in a few weeks' time, they'll be gone. And I mean, there is some things, you know, like real hardships that won't be gone. But a lot of the things that we're worrying about now will be gone in a month. Where did you get that mindset from? You alluded to the therapy that you've been through. Are these some of the tips and techniques that you were gifted from your therapist?
Yeah.
Or is it a mindset, or did you just learn it through maturity or whatever?
I'm so mature.
No, just not.
I mean, that's a really good question, you know, and it's really interesting to reflect on it. I have been reflecting on this because I think we can get so consumed with everyday life that we kind of forget where we've come from because we're just where we are now. And we're like, oh, well, I know for me, like I'm ambitious and I'm driven and I'm like, I live on purpose. So there's always something that I want to do, like even in my healing time, which has been really exciting in a way, even though it's been very still, it's a different kind of excitement. I've known that there's been something next that's coming. I've always known that. And yeah, like just knowing that I've lost my train of thought now because I've got so many different thoughts in my head.
How did you get this mindset?
How did I get this mindset? Yeah, all these different modalities and tools that I've got. I've come from so many different places. I am literally a lifelong learner. I'm never going to stop learning. And I actually, last year, like through COVID, like so 2020 until about last month, I didn't do any, like I didn't participate in any coaching programs or what do you call them, masterminds or anything like that. And I had been for quite a few years beforehand. And I needed that time to actually step out and not be in any kind of container. I still do therapy all the time. I'm a huge advocate of therapy. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but for me, it has been invaluable. I used to do it every week, and now I do it every 2 weeks. It's really flexible with whatever you want to do. You just need to find the right therapist. And with that, yeah, there are loads of different techniques you can use in therapy. I did, for trauma specifically, I did EMDR, which is eye movement direction reprogramming, which is fascinating. And that was specifically to help me remove trauma because I was suffering from PTSD from like rape trauma. And that really helped. And it's an uncomfortable process, as all healing is, because you have to recall like 10 of your most disturbing memories in your life. And then you work through them to clear them with the therapist.
Wow.
Weird technique where you move your eyes.
You work in that hour or so with the therapist. Are you telling the therapist what you're thinking about as well?
It's so weird to describe because if you're...
Let's have it.
I'll give it a crack. So I've actually done it in 2 ways because I started it before COVID. So I was one-on-one with the therapist in the same room, and she would sit in front of me. We would recall like one memory at a time, and it would just be like one memory for that session. It would take maybe, depending on how deep the memory went and how deep the feeling was, I think the longest memory, which is probably the furthest back, took me 5, maybe 6 sessions because it brings so much stuff up. Anyway, she sits in front of you, she moves your fingers, and it's so your brain's interrupted. You can't think about stuff. You just go wherever. Wow. You start with the memory, and then you're like, what do you notice? She'll stop and she'll like, what do you notice? And for me, this is another way like how fascinating our brains are, because sometimes my brain would be like, there's a unicorn and a rainbow. She's like, don't think about it. Just tell me what you see. And then other times it would be like, oh, well, this is the memory where my dad was fighting with my mum. I can see my dad and my mum, and she looks angry and he looks angry, you know, like whatever it was. So it can be quite logical and linked to the memory, or it can be like out like everywhere. And it's about surrender, which is another thing I've been learning through my healing journey, which is been quite hard for me. I was always told, like, I would try and do salsa. This is off on a tangent, but I would try and do salsa dancing, and I can't let a guy lead. Like, I was really, really bad. It's letting go of control, surrendering. I'm just like, nah. But yes, this EMDR was absolutely amazing. Look it up if anyone's suffered from any kind of trauma and you've had any kind of PTSD. It cleared things for me in a really remarkable way. Like, I haven't had a PTSD episode since, so that is really, really cool. As a healing modality.
Hang on. One word you said was surrender. What did you mean there? Surrender the memory and let it go, or did you mean surrender the thought? Because you said something really interesting there about rainbows and unicorns. I'm exactly the same, right? I'm like, oh, look, something over there. Oh my God. I sometimes can't. So when you're trying to think of something, are you surrendering all the other thoughts and just letting them come in and go back out? Is that what you meant? Or
it's about control and really letting go of control. And I feel like you might be on the same wavelength as me of being a little bit of I think control, perfectionism, like going. I think they all come really hand in hand. And that's something that I've really been working on. Letting go of control is my idea of surrender, which means like letting your inner guidance system guide you, like kind of, it's not shutting your brain down because it's all linked, but it's like, I don't even want to say quieting the thoughts. It's like, it's letting the thoughts go wherever they're going to go, letting your feelings go wherever you're going to go. Because this therapy
is that a bit of meditation in there?
Yeah, but you're not sitting down to meditate.
Okay.
Like, you're not trying to, this is the thing, you're not trying to do anything. You're literally just being, which is a weird thing to try to do. And you don't actually, it's about not trying. It's really strange. And it's been difficult for me because I have always been, and I'm not really anymore this person of, I'm always trying to do stuff. Whereas now I'm really focusing on being. So like, I have a reminder on my phone of not I'm doing the best I can, but I'm being the best I can be. And
let me grab you again. Inner guidance. What did you mean by that?
It's all the stuff inside you, like your little voice. Like, my voice can be very quiet. It has been very quiet because I've listened to sometimes my monkey brain, which is like the chatter, and can often be a critic as well. Like, and that comes from a place of fear rather than a place of love. So my inner guidance system it always comes from my heart, often comes from my belly as well, like my gut, where all those happy hormones are. And it's like your intuition. So it's what like I talked about soul at the beginning of this. And if anyone hasn't watched the Disney Pixar movie yet, I would highly, highly recommend it, which is called Soul. Okay. And it's the thing that makes us, which in my opinion, not everyone will agree with this or believe in this. Like, our soul lives on regardless of our body. Like, this is my human now. My human is Sarah, but my soul has been many, many places and will be in many, many other places as well. And it's those little whispers, like, I'm on this earth to do and to be certain things, and I don't necessarily know them yet. And that's the whole life's journey for me. It's learning, listening to myself, figuring out how to listen to myself, actually, because as I say, like, my responses, my decisions used to all be based on fear of, or what other people thought. Like, what other people thought I should be doing. And now it's like, no, like, it's tapping into my inner voice and being like, this is right. You need to write this down, and everyone needs to take notice of this. If there's only one thing
there's no room left on my paper.
There's only one, if you take one thing away from what I say today, this is it. The question we need to ask ourselves, and when we're answering anything in terms of like, what I'm going to do next, what should I be doing? What do I need? Not what do I want? What do I need? And this is a moment to moment. Yeah, this is a moment to moment thing, or it's a like projecting into the future, like, what am I going to do in the future kind of thing? What do I need? And that's what your inner voice, your inner guidance system will be. And some people do like come from their heads, and that's great, but it's about distinguishing whether it's my head is telling me exactly what I need, and it's coming from a place of being very aligned with myself, or is it a fear response? And then if it's a fear response, I'm like, thank it, but let it go. Like, really dig deep.
Something you said there was right at the top of our conversation. You went, I want to go to Antarctica, I want to do all these things, right? And then you said a few things about your journey, and it's exciting because I'm paraphrasing here, but I think what you meant is you've got lots of things to do in your life. And you probably don't know what they are right now. And that for me is the exciting thing, because you'll meet people, sliding door moments, meet at a conference, pick up the phone, text, meet someone online, whatever, and you just never know where it's going to take you. Are you quite happy with that journey, or are you quite scripted in the things that you want to do? Like, I'm going to go to Antarctica. Do you write them down, the things I want to do, or do you let it ride?
That's such a good question. And there are loads of flavors to it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
There's another thing that I'm learning, and this is like my letting go of control thing. I, until very recently, was very, very uncomfortable with, and it still comes back in. The thing is, like, another thing I want to say about a healing journey, like, you'll heal something. That doesn't mean it goes away forever. Like, it can come back because you can get triggered by something else. Someone says something, or an event happens, or whatever. Like, and in these moments, it's so important to be kind to yourself, because I've been there where I've been like, I've learned this lesson. Why am I reacting like this again? Like, what an idiot I am. Like, all of these horrible things. Not useful, not at all. But it's like, yeah, I was so uncomfortable with the unknown. Like, it just, I want to, again, it's control and it's this perfectionism. And like, even recently I talked in my therapy session about gripping onto stuff, because I'm like, this is familiar. I know what this is. And in a way, it's a trauma response as well. Like, especially if you've grown up.
Sorry, is that people as well? When you talk about gripping on to things, is that gripping on to people as well?
Yeah, can totally be people, and people who aren't necessarily serving your highest good as well. Yeah. That can be romantic relationships, it can be marriages, it can be partners, it can be friends, it can be work colleagues, it can be bosses, it can be anyone, like absolutely anyone. It can be influencers that you follow on Instagram, like, and the thing is, we hold on to them because they're familiar, and there's some comfort in that. And often we link safety with familiarity and comfort. And I've been going back recently actually to when I worked in the corporate world, and oh my God, that was I quickly realized that it wasn't for me. I really tried to fit me as a very round peg into a very square hole of corporate world. I didn't fit at all. And I was just thinking this morning that then I went to Paris. I moved to Paris and totally moved myself from my comfort zone. And it was really uncomfortable, but it was the best decision I could ever make, because it was letting myself, it's like I let my wings open. I've got my tattoo as well. Like, this is all about spreading your wings and flying and letting yourself be free from any constraints. But we do hold on to these things because we think, and the thing is, safety is the foundation of what everyone needs. And that's, food, water, shelter. We need to feel safe. So it's not a surprise that we kind of grip onto these and try and control everything. But now I'm more on the wavelength of you, Ian, which is like, it's really exciting. I mean, I navigate anxiety and excitement a lot. There's a very thin line between anxiety and excitement for a lot of people, me included. Yeah. And I do just, it is a mindset thing. So coming back to your question about where did I get my mindset from? Like, I can't identify one place. It's a daily practice, I would say. And there's a lot of different tools I use. Therapy, I do meditate, I do yoga. I'm very much into treat your mind, your body and your spirit. They're all as important as each other. So it's physical, mental, emotional workouts in a way, and rest for all of them. Because you can be resting physically, but if your mind's going 10 to the dozen, that's going to exhaust you. It really is. And it exhausts me.
I really envy your rest and your diligence to take care of Sarah. I think yesterday you said it was a day off. You don't do emails. Did you say that to me? And I thought, wow, what's that about? I drove to the top of the mountains in India on holiday to suck down emails on a motorbike. And you're just deciding, I'm not doing emails today. I'm like, wow, I couldn't. This scares me. But I just love your attitude towards that. Tell me a bit about that.
Do you know, it's a commitment to me, and not just a commitment to me now, but it's a commitment to me in the future as well. And in me committing to me, I'm actually committing to every single person who's around me, and anyone that I want to take care of, and anything that I want to do, and any person that I want to be. Because I've said this a lot, and I've said this in Startup Week forums and Founders Friday forums, and talk to you about it. Taking care of ourselves is literally the most important thing. Making sure that we're coming from a place of cup is full rather than depletion is the most important thing. Because what I've realized as well, and COVID has taught me specifically, is life is going to throw you stuff there's going to be stress in our lives all the time. And we have to take the moments where there isn't stress and really cherish them. But yeah, stress is going to come at us in all different shapes and forms and sizes and people and events and all that kind of thing. But if we are coming from a place of, if we're nourishing ourselves and we're taking care of ourselves, and we're then able to come with a full cup, then we can give to ourselves and back to society, to the world, to the people that we love, so much better, so much more effectively. And I honestly maintain that the more we rest, the more productive we are. And it seems so counterintuitive, because we want to keep going. But the more we rest, the more we're actually going to get more done, and more stuff that's important to us and important to our overall purpose done, because we don't muck around, for hours being like, oh, I need to be in front of my laptop. Let's go. It's like, right, I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to get this done in 20 minutes. I'm a huge advocate of 20-minute chunks. And that doesn't mean I don't set the timer, do 20 minutes. I'm really into something. I repeat the timer and I do another 20 minutes and then do an hour, but I always get up from my laptop after an hour if I'm sitting down. Which I know you don't. You do live streams for 4 hours at a time.
No, I do love that Pomodoro kind of thing. But productivity for me, I'm so reactive. I bounce around, but that's just the business that I'm in, and that's fine. But we've been going half an hour, so, and I know you've got somewhere to be this afternoon. So I want to understand what Sarah's been doing now, and I know you really lean into things quite spiritually as well, and you really want to make a difference, I think, and you want to help people. You're a great helper, and you want to share what you've learned with others. So what have you been up to? Let's go back again.
Well, so I've been up to loads, but what's really front of mind for me at the moment, this is if anyone knows human design, I'm a generator, so I give a lot of, you'll just know this from me anyway, I give a lot of energy whatever I go into. So I need to really prioritize what I do put my energy into, because I go after stuff when I want it. The thing that I care most about at the moment is violence towards women. And this is something that's been in my heart for a few years, but it's kind of simmered under the surface. And I haven't really known exactly where to put my efforts and my energy. Everyone, I imagine, will be aware of the Sarah Everard case that's come up. And it's heartbreaking, but I am so pleased that these conversations are now going on. And I'm seeing amazing conversations going on with men as well. And really guys stepping up and being like, what can we do? And listening, this hasn't happened like this before. We've had women being murdered, we've had, rapes, all this kind of thing. It happens every day. It's the statistics are mind-boggling.
Scary, yeah.
It's ingrained in society. So I've always wanted to do something to work with this. And, I've worked with men in the past to help you guys get in touch with your emotions, because I really do believe the perpetrators of these horrible, horrible crimes, they do need help. I like to see the best in everyone, and I don't believe that anyone is totally evil. I think we make bad decisions that can be very, very detrimental, but I do believe that people can be helped, and that's what I want to believe. I don't ever want to lose that, my positivity towards humankind. Yeah. So I have launched an interview series called GrATTITUDE Gal, which I think Ashley maybe mentioned on one of your things before. I can't remember whether I've mentioned. And this interview series is about gratitude, obviously, but it's gratitude with attitude, because that's me.
Okay.
And I'm going to just open up this conversation. I've already done a couple of different interviews, which aren't just along these lines, but I'm opening up this conversation. And really, I'm all about empowering women anyway, as you know. I'm super behind women in business, women in small business especially, and I want to continue empowering them and supporting them through me listening to them, but also by really engaging men in this conversation as well, and helping them understand what they can do, because now is the time to listen, but it's also the time to take action. And it's really when you're in your friend groups and in your family groups, calling out in a kind way. We don't need to be nasty about this, and I really don't want to bring shame in, because shame is vicious. And I think we need to stop shaming women who are survivors, but I also think we need to not shame men who are making mistakes, because it doesn't do any good. So opening up the conversations there, I'm going to have you on, because you are one of my, as I've said to you, you're one of my, when these things happen, or if I'm feeling down in my heart about women's issues and men in general, I haven't had strong male role models in my life, but when I'm feeling like this, I'm like, who are the guys? Just think of the guys around you who you really appreciate. And you're always on my list, always. Oh, thank you. So as just a conscious male, and you really, really have a very good heart, and you want to help people. And as I say, you've got those energies which are quite integrated as well, which I love. And you lend a listening ear. So I'm going to introduce.
I'm just going to jump in there. It is really interesting from a guy's point of view. And I was looking at something yesterday, and I can't remember the campaign. Is it Your Streets? I think it's two sisters, and they're trying to make it illegal for sexual harassment in public. So that's like someone just shouting out stuff to women as they pass the street, or young girls. And actually, my daughter, Jess, I mentioned earlier, it's so exciting to see the shift in younger children's minds around sexualization. It's just like they're very aware of it now, especially through social media. And I'm watching some of Jess's Instagram stories, and she's, forwarding and promoting this kind of, like, get in, girl, for a young girl, and she's like trying to share this stuff. It's just amazing. So I was talking to Jess yesterday about this very thing about sexual harassment in public, and how it's just wrong. So your voice, that's like, sometimes that's all we have, and even a platform like this, it's just can we try to do a little bit to make a change. So sorry to jump in and stop you, but is that where you come from here? Is it about using your voice?
It is. And you know what, like, there's, again, through my healing modalities, like, to you guys, like this community, like, you've seen me up on stages and you've seen me talking, and I'm super confident. Like, I am very, very confident. But when it comes to sharing some things, and I'm even feeling it in my throat chakra now, women have been suppressed for centuries. Like, we really have been suppressed for centuries, and using your voice has been really, we get talked down in meetings, we get shouted at on the street, which I actually thought that was already illegal. I know that catcalling from like building sites and stuff was made illegal quite a few years ago, but that's not the only place. And I also want to, this case of using your voice is sometimes the only thing that you have, and for some people they don't even have that. And I really want to raise as well, like, I'm a white woman. Being a woman, I am not privileged, but being white, I am privileged. And I think about my sisters who are black or different color to me, and they have it so much harder. Like, they're not listened to. Like, a lot of the time they have no voice at all. So I feel like I'm in a privileged position here because of the color of my skin, which is ridiculous, but I am. And I want to use my voice to help the people who don't have a voice as well. And yeah, it is about shouting at the moment. I mean, I try to approach things in a way where I think there's going to be a positive outcome. And I think right now we need to, like with Black Lives Matter last year, that I see a lot of similarities with that. I felt very uncomfortable. I'm going to admit, I felt very defensive as a white person. But we need to let people shout and express themselves, however it is, shouting, writing, whatever it is. Let them have their safe space to do that. And as you know, I'm about creating safe spaces as well. But for us now, it's let women express themselves however they want to. I'm going to express myself the way I want to. And that's a big step for me, because it's really putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable place, and you are opening yourself up for criticism. But now I do have this feeling, as I say, like, this was simmering, like my experiences with rape specifically, which is not a stranger on the streets. Like, this is what's in the consciousness right now in the UK and around the world, like a policeman attacking a girl, whatever the backstory is, they might have known each other, but it's more often than not someone you know, and it's someone that you know intimately, personally, and you trust them. And this is like, so the figure is staggering. It's like 80% of rapes, it's someone that you know. It's often a husband to a wife, or a partner to a partner. Like, this is a serious thing. And yeah, it's about it again, language. Like, this is coming back to me changing my language, everyone changing their language, and guys understanding. And it's, listening to your daughter like you do, or a partner or whatever, but just kindly bringing, so if a guy is being misogynistic or being disrespectful towards women in a conversation, when you're all guys together, it's just like being like, have you heard what you're saying? Do you realize what you're saying? Like, these words might be building something inside of you. Because again, going back to this, I believe that all people are good. Society and history has put stuff inside of us. We've been conditioned in a certain way. And but it's now about learning and about being like, okay, like, just like on my healing journey, learning about me and everyone else on their own journeys, you learn stuff. Now we need to learn what is acceptable and what is not, and what triggers potentially violent behavior in the future. Because it starts from something, it starts from a seed, and it grows. And whatever we plant in our minds and our hearts and our souls, that's what grows. So more positivity in terms, not like illogical positivity, but just more respect and more understanding, I think, is what we need. So as I say, I'm doing the interviews. I'm in a group as well. I know that Jane Imrie, who as some of you will know, she started a group called, I can never remember the names of these, something the streets as well. So I'm getting involved.
You're the ones, ourstreetsnow.org. I think I just had a quick look. So if somebody wants to put that in the comments and maybe just check that out.
Yeah, it's but this, you know what, there's so many. Even I looked in the group this morning and there's already, you know, if people want to protest and we can't protest because of COVID, and
you know what a worry is, though. I'm just going to jump in. A worry is, and I dare open this box. I don't really know, but from the white privileged male, you know, kind of, you look at the Black Lives Matter. It worries me sometimes, Sarah, because it almost becomes something that people have to do. So corporates have to jump on it and like change their profile picture to a black box. And if you haven't done that, are you racist? And you know, and then the BLM can reach out to them and go, right, okay, you need to give us some money for this now. And it becomes a commercial activity. And if they don't, they look racist. And so I really worry about some of these things that I don't know how it's driven, how you create it without it being very commercial, if you know what I mean. And you're losing the real thought, the process, because even footballers now, you'll hear people going, that's ludicrous, what they're taking the knee for, and it becomes a bit friction within, and it shouldn't cause friction.
Well, I'm going to argue that one, because I actually where I totally take your point, and I think when money comes into it, that's when it can make things tricky. But I think it's about understanding your fellow humans, really, and it's about, again, being true to yourself. And I think there's the flip side of that, where companies and organizations and stuff like jump on the bandwagon of Black Lives Matter or women mattering, and it's all just smoke and mirrors so that they can like tick a box. It's actually, it's more important. Again, this is about being, like, isn't always about doing it. It can be about starting with yourself and being like, what can I do? And I know for all we can do is what we can do as individuals, and then we can come together collectively. We can march, we can protest, all that kind of thing. We can put petitions through, all that kind of thing, and we can make change that way. But I really do think if we start with ourselves and just looking around our immediate groups, that is what is actually going to make the most impact. And I think we sometimes need to drown out the noise, Ian. I really do think we need to drown out the noise, because there is a lot out there, and there'll be a lot of people who will try and commercialize things. There is also causes and initiatives and organizations that do need donations and do need money to be able to enact stuff. If they're coming to people and saying, like, this is what we're trying to do, I think a well thought out strategy or a well thought out approach to something is really, really worthwhile. And I think partnering with organizations and businesses who really actually do care and really want to make a difference, and who are taking those steps internally within the organization, that makes a lot of sense. Also, you know, if a company like Nike wants to come along and donate a load of money that's actually going to help domestic violence survivors get to new homes, you know, like, unfortunately we live in a world where money is our currency, and we do need it for a lot of things, and it can be very valuable. So yeah, I totally see where you're coming from on that one, but I also think that, like, the message needs to get out there, and sometimes it's whatever means necessary. And I think sometimes that friction, if we can be conscious enough to examine why we're feeling that friction, like what's going on inside of us, then we can move through it and be like, oh, this is what I'm feeling uncomfortable about this, because I maybe feel like I could do a bit more, or I'm feeling uncomfortable about this, maybe I need to turn off, like, stop following this person or this news broadcast, because it's not really aligned with how I feel now. We really do need to be true to ourselves. And you know what, this cause is not going to be for everyone. There are causes that I don't get behind because I'm not 100% in them. But the thing is with this one is females are, you know, 50% of the, or whatever, half and half of the population. And we're the ones who create life. And we literally hold life inside of us. And we have birthed all the men who are being violent towards it. And as much as men might be scared on the streets as well, they're not scared of women attacking them. They're scared of other men attacking them. So men suffer from rape as well, and I feel like figures for male rape are probably much higher than reported, because they will not share that. So I'm not saying that women are better than men. I'm not saying that women need necessarily special treatment. We just want to be equal. Like, that's it. And we have a responsibility as a society to do that, and as individuals as well. So as I say, go back to individual, look at the people who are around you and try and implement positive change that way. That is where it starts. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, yeah, I used to be one of those people who was like, oh, I don't do politics. Whereas it's like, look at the world now, like we're in through COVID, and the politicians that are doing the stuff that they're doing. And also there's a bill they're trying to push through, which is stopping people from protesting and using their voices, which is and giving the police more power. And in the case of violence against women, there's a policeman who has been violent towards women. You're saying that you're going to give them more power. And I'm not saying that all policemen are bad. I'm really, really not saying that. But I'm starting to feel like how a lot of Americans felt last year with the whole, what's really tipped over the Black Lives Matter thing, which was the Floyd murder, which was police brutality. Our systems aren't working. They're not working. So in a way, we can't politicize it completely, but politics needs to be involved, because that is where systems change. I mean, I think we need to overhaul the whole political system, and I do not have the answer to that whatsoever.
We could bang on for a couple of hours. I'm just going to read Deb's comment out there for the listeners who can't see it. And she said, I think where it goes wrong is that organised becomes confused with politicised. Change your corner of the world, that's the place to start. And I think that's what we've just been talking about there, Sarah, about changing your corner and having a voice and doing little bits and bobs. And even going back to my little chat with my daughter last night, it's just listening and trying to help. I mean, even some things I've saw lately, you talk about, violence and stuff. Little things, just telling Jess about, like pressing your iPhone lock button 5 times will create a loud siren and then automatically inform the emergency services. Loads of little things like that can help, and using your voice and sharing it amongst it. So we've all got a role to play, haven't we, really?
We do, and I think they are really good short-term things. But for me, like, this is, big change doesn't happen overnight. So these things are really, really important. I 100% agree with that. And, I'm massively about empowering women, but I really do think like now is the time where we really, really need to focus on educating our boys and our men in women don't owe you anything. And you may have desires towards women, whether they're sexual or romantic or being friends or whatever, like they don't owe you that, but we do actually want to give you that if we have that interest. So look at yourself, nurture yourself, give yourself what you need in the meantime, and come from a place of kindness and compassion and understanding. And we really need to get rid of this belief of I deserve something or I am owed something by another person. And that's not even just with women and men, but I feel like this can be at the core. Like, well, you owe me sex, and this can be in a relationship, or you owe me whatever. And it's like, that's not actually how it is.
I kind of get my head around what you just said there.
No, and I think a lot of the time, and these conversations are not comfortable, a lot of the time guys don't realize what they're doing is hurting a woman. Okay. Because I know, in the cases of, and I'm talking about rapes here, but they don't realize that they've raped you because they don't know what consent is. They don't truly understand what consent is. Consent is a enthusiastic yes, not inebriated. So without alcohol, drugs, high emotions, whatever involved, and I think we need to come to this place where it's we need to come from a place of love, and for ourselves and for the other person, and not this I feel like it's this bubbling, boiling need to get whatever it is that we want, whether it's power, whether it's sex, whether it's money, whatever. Let's just try and be a bit more on a level with ourselves. Again, it's about our energy and about our love for ourselves. Let's figure out, what do I need? And then learn how to ask for it from other people, and then also be accepting if someone says no. Not everyone is going to want what you want or need what you need. So there's so much. But
that was a really powerful thing you said there about actually wanting something. But then I think coming from it with a place of want or aggression or power or the money side of it, surely there's bad karma in there, and
I know it feels really, doesn't it? I know, and I know you have real life experience of this as well. And as I say, this isn't just a man against woman thing. This can be a human against human thing. What we're faced with at the moment is women are the marginalized group, and that's why we're using our voices and we're speaking up. And I've got someone shared a really good list of questions that men can ask themselves and each other. Okay. On Instagram. I'll share that with you so that you can put it out to everyone, because we need to ask these questions, and they're tough questions. And you know what, guys, like, you will have hurt women in the past and you won't have known about it, and you'll be triggered by these things, because every guy I spoke to after my rape, like, I got very different reactions from people, but a lot of them were like, but he was drunk, so that doesn't count. And I was like, okay. And it's like, when you say that kind of thing, you're literally squishing a woman. You're like minimizing her feelings. You're saying that her experience doesn't matter. Or like, oh, you're going to ruin his life by reporting him to the police. It's like, wow. So it's uncomfortable. And I know a lot of my guy friends have, you think back to your college years and stuff, like, oh God, you just go out and get drunk and you have sex, don't you? Like, that's what you do. But really, is it what we need to be doing? Is that really what we need? And are we treating each other with love and compassion? And if we're going to end up feeling terrible about it later on in life, like, really, is that what we should be doing? So yeah, there's questions there, and there's a lot of comfort.
There is, and you what did you say? Discomfort? Did you say that? Yeah, it is. It's a lot of uneasiness, and I'm sitting here with a bunch of emotions, and that's good. That's when I know I've had a good conversation, to be honest. You make me think, and you've educated me, and you've educated some of our viewers and listeners, and I really thank you for that. I think that's your calling. And so, just before you leave, then you've been working on a few bits and bobs to do this. What's the future hold?
So the future, I'm getting more Gratitude Gal interviews, also speaking to other guys on their podcasts or video interviews. Like, I'm offering up like men's groups. If you, as you know, like, I've done men's circles and stuff in the past before. They take a lot of energy, and I stopped them because, if I'm going to be honest, I got to a point, I go through cycles with this. I just got to a point where this was a year or so ago, I just don't like you. Men. Really, not in a like us, just in a like, oh my God, I feel like you don't deserve my energy because you just don't get it.
That particular person in your group, what are you talking about?
No, it was just like it becomes exhausting when you're trying to educate someone, and or people in general, it can sometimes be like banging your head against a brick wall. So when people are like, they're trying to be open to it, but they're not getting it, or like they get one thing, but then they say something and you're just like, oh. So it can take a lot of energy. So in terms of me setting up men's groups and men's circles, I'm not doing that necessarily anymore, because I don't really feel like that's actually where I'm adding the most value. And I don't want to get in that mindset again of being like, you're not worth my time, because that's not how I feel now. Like, I really do want to give as much as I can while respecting my energy as well, which is why I'm offering up to existing men's groups, if they want a female voice in the circle, I'll come along and talk to you like that, because it's a slightly different dynamic. And I know that there's already a structure in place there. There's someone else holding the space, and I'm coming in as a speaker of this instead. So that's an offer. If anyone does do circles like that, like, I'm really happy to come in and talk. And I don't hate you. I really don't hate you. I think men are fucking fantastic. Really, again, I really do. And I think this is about, as I've said to you, Ian, as well, like, this is about working together. Like, women can't do it on their own, men can't do it on their own. Like, and I'm in a very privileged position to be confident enough and happy enough to use my voice and to share things, whether it's my experiences or I have so many other experiences from other people that I've talked to, clients, friends, colleagues, male and female, that I want to share there as well. So yeah, going and doing that. And on my other side, I know I was talking to you about like my other projects that I've got. I'm developing card decks, which are kind of helping people get through this stuff in a way. Like, they're not necessarily like what women and men should do, but we don't have enough fun. Like, we really don't have enough fun. Like, there's a lot of serious stuff going on, and I'm hugely advocating for, I'm really, against violence against women. But I also need to, and you do as well, like, you need to take time out of it. Like, you cannot be doing this 24/7, just like work or anything. Like, you need to have that rest. So for me, like, creativity, I've got like my little Creatrix necklace on today, is really, really key in using a different part of my brain. So I've developed a SAS deck, which is definitely targeted towards women, although I think men would get a lot of joy from it as well.
Well, to be honest, I have seen one of them which said pussy power, and I didn't really know how to react to that. And I just thought, maybe this is not aligned to you, Ian.
But imagine if you got that for your wife or your girlfriend, you could just have a laugh about it, couldn't you? Be like, all right, love, what are you doing today? And you pull out pussy power. She's like, yeah. And you're like, all right then. And you might be thinking, woo, I might get lucky.
So to get lucky, you actually need a card to help you get lucky.
Yes. So men, when I release the SAS deck,
buy 50 of them, replace every single card with pussy power, and go take one. And coincidentally, when they take one, it's pussy power.
It'll be like, have you ever watched Live and Let Die, the James Bond film with the tarot cards? It'll be like that when James Bond stacks the deck, so it all says love. She's like, oh my god, that's manipulation. Don't do that, boys. But no, I'm doing card decks with that. But there's also one which is probably a bit more like aligned with entrepreneurs. Like I found in COVID to begin with, I would stand in my kitchen, I would be like literally spinning around going, what the hell am I meant to be doing? So I've developed like it started off being called the What Do I Need Right Now deck, which is sometimes is breathe, sometimes it's sit down, sometimes it's drink a glass of water, sometimes it's do some yoga, do a workout, list 5 things that you're grateful for. So this is it's self-care to the nth degree, but it's also for either people who are feeling a bit anxious or people who are just really busy and sometimes are just a bit like all up in their heads. They finish a bit of work, they come off the laptop, whatever, and they're like, what do I need right now? And like, this is so it's taking care of yourself, but again, it's in a way of like being productive as well, and taking like a pause. And these can either be used like you pull one, like what do I need right now, like as a surprise, or I used to use them, I might choose, if I was feeling really anxious, I'd choose one as my goal for the day, and that might be a workout. Or if I was feeling a little bit more like adventurous, I would choose 3 and be like, right, I'll try and cross them off my list. There's stuff like bake your favorite like banana bread or cookies or whatever in there as well, because it's like take yourself out of wherever you are in your head, do something different, and you'll feel just like a whole lot better. Really, really do. So
I'm gonna get a bit tree huggy on you here. If I pick a card out and it says take a glass of water, does that mean that the universe knew I needed to take a glass of water, or is it just a suggestion?
We always need a glass of water. Seriously, like if you haven't drank water in the last like couple of minutes, you definitely need water, whether it's water or whether it's a herbal tea or whatever, like not coffee, because that's, you know.
Well, listen, sister, you've been on here an hour, you haven't took a drink yet, so
pussy power.
Oh, pussy power. Hashtag. Right then, is there anything that you need to say before you go? I love this. Thank you so much. And do you know what it is I love about this? The way you make me think and question, and there's no right, there's no wrong. It's opinions a lot of the time, and you know, but it's and you challenge me. It's brilliant. I thank you so much for that and what you do going forward. So, is there anything you want to leave us with before you go?
Well, I actually think what you've just said is really instrumental. Like there is no right or wrong. There really isn't. I think everyone just has opinions, and being respectful of that is really, really important. There's just no right or wrong, and I just want to thank everyone who's come in and made comments as well. I know we've produced, promoted, whatever, shown.
Yeah, I've thrown a few comments on screen there. There's our Victoria saying how to connect with you, Sarah. Where can we find you?
So Instagram is probably the best. I've got 2 accounts. One is my personal account, which is Sarah Crimmens, which is like in my little signature here. So at Sarah with an H, Sarah with a ha. Did anyone see the Michael McIntyre?
No.
Sarah with an H, Sarah ha. Sarah Crimmens.
What about Gratitude Gal? And can people see that? Is that
that's my second Instagram account, which is still in its little infancy, but it's growing. And I've actually got an interview with Ashley King, who I know is one of our community here, which I'm going to get out.
Ashley King, we love Ashley King.
Yes, exactly. She's super full of positivity as well. So that one is Gratitude Gal, but it's not like how you spell normal gratitude. It's gratitude with attitude. So it's like GR and then attitude gal. And there's a picture of me there, so that like as the little thingy, so that you know who it is. But yeah, we're on Instagram, and that's probably the best place to connect. Although I do connect with you guys a little bit on LinkedIn as well. So that's Sarah Crimmens, which is my full name, which is CRI, double M for mother, ENS.
Or they can come on a carp away event with us, because we love getting together monthly, don't we, and having our walks, but we haven't been able to do it with COVID. I'm dying to get together with our crew and do a little bit of hiking together and chew the fat. So
this is the thing, like this is what you stand for as well. Yeah, like highly advocate this. Like it could be go for a walk. One of my little cards is go for a walk as well. And thank you so much. I've just seen that you've followed me already, Victoria. I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I love like your Carpe Way stuff is truly like, I remember doing that. Was it 2018 we started it? 2019?
Yeah.
And the first one was it was 2019. Yeah, 2019.
So, yeah.
And we need to get out. We need to take breaks. We need to get out and do stuff, but we also get to connect with great people. So
and have conversations like this. You have like 8 of these across the day, and you come away at the end of the day absolutely buzzing. It's awesome.
And I always get some kind of nugget from Grant as well.
I love Grant. You can't even be bothered to watch. Don't promote Grant. Right, you go and get yourself sorted. I'm going to grab some lunch.
Yes.
It's been lovely to catch up again, Sarah. I'm so glad we didn't catch up on the phone and we shared you with the world.
Oh, yeah. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for everything that you do, Ian. You're an absolutely stellar person, really great human. And I'm very, very grateful to have you in my network, but also as a friend. So thank you.
Oh, thanks.
And Misha.
And because she'll want more. She'll probably want her own show soon, because I know she's the brains behind everything. Right, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all your comments. Really good. I know we threw this on really quickly, but hey, why not? This is what it's all about. So thanks for watching, and we shall see you very soon.
Bye.